Don't you blame the movies! Movies don't create psychos! Movies make psychos more creative!
Greetings once again, my fellow monstrous beings. I am your host, Mr. Cthulhu. Let's get straight into it. This episode, I got a good one. One of my all-time favorites, in fact. Due to this, I decided to split this episode into two parts. I got a lot to say about this one. Today we're going to be taking a bite out of the 1985 horror classic, Fright Night. Wow, that poster looks really familiar. The film was written and directed by Tom Holland. No, not that Tom Holland. This Tom Holland. Tom's other noticeable works are the original Chucky slasher, Child's Play, and a couple of good Tales from the Crypt episodes. He also directed the Stephen King adaptation of Thinner, which I actually think is a pretty good film. Anyway, I digress. Let's get fangs deep stuck into Fright Night. Anytime now. Our film begins on a moonlit night in the hills of the suburbs.
It's chilly out here.
Oh, no, it isn't. It's beautiful.
Here we meet our main character, Charley Brewster, played by William Ragsdale. They're watching late-night horror host Peter Vincent, played perfectly by the late, great Roddy McDowall.
But I love you more.
Then Charley notices two guys out the window carrying something. While Charley takes a closer look, Amy gets undressed. Shirt off, shirt on. Shirt off, shirt on.
There are two guys out in the yard, and I think they're carrying a coffin.
We have pledged ourselves.
And they're on the moors, right?
You really scared me, you shithead.
Oh, I don't understand you. First you want to make love, and then you don't.
Well, Charley, it doesn't look like you're gonna get to dip your wick anytime soon. Amy storms off in a huff.
Mom, there are people next door.
Charley seems surprised there are people moving in next door.
Didn't I tell you? Bob Hoskins said he finally got rid of the place.
He doesn't want the drink. He does. I don't. You do. I don't. You don't. I do.
Who'd he sell it to?
I don't know, some fellow who fixes up houses for a living. Supposed to be very attractive, though.
The next day at school, Amy's still pissed.
Amy! Did you finally find out what you really like? Buzz off, evil.
If you value your life, I suggest you leave me alone.
Anyway, later that evening, Charlie's studying at home when this happens. The next day, Charley learns that someone was murdered, and Evil Ed explains it wasn't the first murder.
That wasn't the only murder. Both of them had their heads chopped off. Can you believe it?
You're sick.
Please forgive me. This is probably my most favorite part of the movie.
Oh, you're so cool, Brewster. I can't stand it.
Curiosity gets the better of Charley. On his way home from school, he starts to snoop at the next-door neighbor's house.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Well, just make sure that it stays that way, kid.
Convinced that his neighbor's up to no good and could be involved with the murders, Charley goes into full rear window mode. Then shit gets real. Eventually, Charlie shits himself. He runs into his mom's room and thinks the best course of action is to explain exactly what he saw.
The guy who bought the house has fangs.
Oh, fangs, that's lovely, Charlie. I have to get up at 7 tomorrow.
They did kill a girl over there.
How late did you stay up studying?
Mom, I'm not sick! The guy did have fangs. He's a vampire.
A what?
Naturally, she doesn't believe him, so he calls the fucking cops.
Lieutenant Lennox, homicide. Mind if we come in?
The detective and Charlie speak to the other resident of the house, Billy Cole. He reminds me of a Renfield-type character.
Renfield, are you sure you were not followed here?
No, I led them in the wrong direction. They have no idea where I am.
He went into the chapel. Hurry!
Charlie's basically trying to explain to the detective that he's convinced a girl was murdered there.
The boys made a mistake, Ops,
That's what's down there, a coffin. I saw them carry it in.
What?
Yeah, and you'll find Jerry Dandrige in it, sleeping the sleep of the undead.
Ooh.
Why would you say this to a cop, Charlie?
What are you talking about?
He's a vampire. Uh-oh. I saw him in that room last night, and he had fangs, and he bit her on the neck.
For heaven's sake.
As expected, it didn't go too well.
I know that, but look, Lieutenant!
When Charlie realizes that the nocturnal presence is almost upon him, yeah, he knows he's in trouble. Charlie rushes to the one guy he knows will be knowledgeable about vampires, and that's good for us, because he's clearly one of the best characters in the film.
And to what do I owe this dubious pleasure?
The vampire knows I know about him. Or at least he will when he wakes up tonight.
What are you talking about?
Jesus, what has this guy been smoking?
I have a vampire living next door to me, and he's gonna kill me if I don't protect myself.
What?
Charlie asks for Evil's help, and to be fair to the guy, he gives him some pretty sound advice.
Start with this. But you must have total faith in it for it to work. Then get some garlic, links of the stuff you can wear around your neck and hang from your window. If he comes for you, that'll be the way.
Garlic.
Then, of course, there's holy water. But you gotta get a priest to say a blessing over it first.
Armed with all this advice, Charlie goes home and only nails his window shut. He gets called out by his mom to come downstairs to meet a special somebody.
Charlie, could you come down here a minute, please? There's someone I'd like you to meet. This is our next-door neighbor, Jerry Dandrige.
I wonder who it could be. That cool, ominous music doesn't give me any clue.
Hello, Charlie.
Here we get our first proper look at the vampire, Jerry Dandrige, played perfectly by Chris Sarandon. This guy is a fantastic actor. He's been in some great movies and was the voice for Jack Skellington. Charlie, of course, rebuffs all of his charm and politeness.
I invited him over. Why?
What's the matter, Charlie? Afraid I'd never come over without being invited first?
Well, you're the man of the house, and I'm not coming in until you invite me.
You're invited.
You stupid fools. You never invite a vampire in your home. This guy will tell you how it is.
Don't ever invite a vampire into your house, you silly boy. It renders you powerless.
Did you know that?
Of course. Everyone knows that.
I knew that. I did, I swear. He says some really creepy, ominous shit.
Of course, now that I've been made welcome, I'll probably drop by quite a bit, anytime I feel like it. With your mother's kind permission, of course.
I love these creepy outside shots. Anyway, later that night, Charlie, of course, gets an uninvited visitor. Well, technically he was invited, but you know what I mean. Dandrige is not in the least bit happy that Charlie's been spying on him. He throws him about and fucks him up. Dandrige offers him a choice to walk away and forget what he saw.
You deserve to die, boy.
But instead, Charley pulls out the cross that Ed gave him, which has no effect whatsoever.
Fool.
In order to make it look like an accident, Dandrige goes to push Charley out the window. I would have just torn his fucking head off. Charley manages to grab a pencil and shoves it right through his goddamn hand. Ouch. That looked Tom and Jerry painful. Okay, if the pencil went in that deep, it would have killed Charley. But, fuck it. The makeup effects in this movie are fantastic. Richard Edlund was the head of the visual effects, and his team had just completed work on Ghostbusters.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
Charley's mom wakes up because of all the ruckus. Dandrige makes his escape, and Charley gets to live for another day. He convinces his mom he just had a nightmare. He sees the late-night horror host again from earlier, Peter Vincent. Peter Vincent is basically a play on Peter Cushing. Charley sees him staking a vampire on TV, and takes this as literal gospel, and decides to go pay him a visit.
I believe in vampires.
I don't fucking believe in vampires.
That's nice.
But I believe in my own two eyes.
In fact, I have one living next door to me.
And what I saw is fucking vampire.
Would you help me kill him? Mr. Vincent, I am not joking. I'm deadly serious.
Naturally, Peter thinks Charley's absolutely vampire batshit crazy, and doesn't believe a goddamn word he says. I actually really feel for Charley. No one believes him. He's got no one else to turn to. He looks genuinely scared.
Wait!
As the day draws to a close, Evil Ed and Amy visit Charley, and he's been a busy boy, making stakes and crosses and all sorts of vampire fighting shit.
Self-defense.
Personally, I think Charley's missing out on one piece of vital vampire fighting technology. Or perhaps he could borrow one of these.
I'm waiting for the guy he lives with to leave, and then I'm gonna go next door and find his coffin and pound this to his heart.
So there's Charley's plan. Amy tries to convince him to speak to Peter Vincent. Charley explains to them that Peter doesn't believe him either.
Vampires do exist.
Worried about her boyfriend, Amy and Evil Ed go to visit Peter anyway.
Oh, well, I'm afraid now is not the best time.
Please.
Peter is not interested until they offer to pay him for his help.
I got it all figured out. We all go next door to the neighbor and, you perform some kind of vampire test on him to pronounce him human.
Ah, the old vampire test. I've seen this kind of thing before.
You want some Parmesan cheese on that?
It's not cheese, it's garlic.
Here, quick, drink some water.
Gosh.
Seems like a fairly logical thing to try, so they give Dandrige a call.
It's for you. I see. I'm afraid that crosses are out of the question. I've been reborn recently.
How about holy water? No, won't do either.
Tell him it's just ordinary tap water. All he has to do is sip it.
So our vampiric mythbusters arrive at Dandrige's house to perform the vampire test.
Now, down to business. Where is the lair of the suspected creature of the night?
I know.
Charley's extremely concerned that Peter's not going in there with his box of stakes and hammers. Personally, I think they're dealing with this situation totally the wrong way. I would just go around there with a six-pack of these.
Mr. Vincent, won't y'all come in? Hey, Jer? They're here.
Dandrige Dandrige makes his frightening entrance with his terrifying sweater.
And, who are these two attractive young people?
Jerry seems pretty taken back by Amy being there. When Charlie was at the house earlier, he saw an old painting of someone who looks exactly like Amy.
Charmed. Isn't that what vampires are supposed to do, Charlie?
Totally hilarious.
Where do you keep your coffin? Or do you have more than one?
Charlie. It's all right, Mr. Vincent. I'm quite used to it by now.
Mr. Vincent, give him the holy water.
And are you sure that this is holy water?
Tell him it's just ordinary tap water. All he has to do is sip it.
Get ready to run. I'll protect you with this.
Vampires are total pussies. I can drink the real stuff, real holy water, and it'll have no goddamn effect on me. Check it out. See?
Are you convinced now that Mr. Dandrige is not a vampire?
It can't be.
Now, you know as well as I do that no vampire can drink blessed water.
And it wasn't blessed.
Are you calling me a liar, young man?
Tell him it's just ordinary tap water. All he has to do is sip it.
If he's not a vampire, have him touch this.
Oh, Charlie.
And you're finally convinced I'm not a vampire either?
Yes.
Well, I'm glad that's settled.
Look at this guy. Smug bastard. While Dandrige is making some small chit-chat, Peter Vincent notices something that disturbs him greatly.
Bees in the occult.
The vampire casts no reflection in a mirror.
It's just my clumsiness.
Are you sure?
Saw something that...
Peter Vincent gets the hell out of there, but Charlie begs him to tell him what he saw.
You have to tell me. Our lives depend on that.
All right.
He didn't cast a reflection in my mirror.
Mr. Vincent, shit! Hey, where you going, Pencil Dick? Home.
You'll never believe him now.
No.
So Dandrige now knows that Peter Vincent knows. The movie really picks up pace now.
Vampires don't exist. Haven't you gotten that through your thick head yet?
What if...
Evil Ed, played by obscure 80s actor Stephen Jeffries, has finally had enough of Charlie's shit, as he doesn't believe him. Charlie begs him to stay, but he goes anyway.
Oh, fuck you, Brewster.
Still not convinced, he makes his way home. Then they hear this.
Probably give him blood poison. Jesus, I warned him!
Oh, he got me, Charlie. He bit me. Kill me, Charlie, before I turn into a vampire and give you a hickey!
You asshole!
There are no such things as vampires, fruitcake!
I resent that comment. Some of my best friends are vampires. Check it out.
Peter, wake up. Hey, listen, we're just having a flat meeting upstairs in about 10 minutes. You don't have to come, but I thought I'd extend an invitation to you, just in case.
See? Two of the friendliest, nicest guys I know. Sadly, Peter is no longer with us, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, back to the film. Evil Ed's walking home through a dark alleyway. What a dick.
Hello, Edward.
Naturally, Dandrige pops out of the shadows, but instead of killing Ed, he gives him a choice to become a vampire. Jerry plays on Ed's weaknesses and tells him no one will pick on him or beat him up anymore.
Or beat you up. All you have to do is take my hand.
Here. Oh, take my hand. Ah!
Here, Edward. Take my hand.
When I was younger, this scene used to give me the creeps.
What was that?
They hear the scream, but naturally they just think Ed's playing another prank, so they fuck him off. What follows is about an 8-minute cat-and-mouse chase between Amy, Charley, and Dandrige, running through the streets and into one of the most 80s clubs you've ever seen. First, we have the rebirth of my favorite character.
Who is it?
Me, Evil Ed.
What are we going to do?
What are you gonna do? Not me. Yeah!
Clearly loving being a vampire, Evil Ed attacks Peter. Peter quickly grabs his cross and burns the shit out of Ed's face. Jesus, this is grotesque. He makes a pretty scary vampire, but I know a much more terrifying one. You see? Terrifying.
The master will kill you for this, but not fast.
Peter, obviously now believing, starts to have faith, and his cross is beginning to work. Will Peter Vincent meet the faces of evil once again? What will become of Evil Ed? Will Amy and Charley escape the evil clutches of Jerry the Vampire? For the answers to all these questions and more, be sure to tune in next time for the chilling conclusion of